back to Let's Try Roleplay. This is episode 8 of For Ohmsford. I'm Robin, and I'm playing Nine, the Tiefling Paladin.
I'm Connor, and I'll be playing Tholme, the Human Rogue.
And I'm James, and I'll be playing Ibathane, the Dragonborn Sorcerer.
And I'm Henry, your Dungeon Master.
In this episode, our players are actually competent, but previously...
This is literally Ibathane's wet dream. My pen is made of wood. What? No, yeah, I cast Fireball.
You are all on horses right now. I do not know how to do mountain combat. But... another tree sort of directly opposite that one slowly starts to move.
Hey, remember that guy who warned us about sleeping in the forest? How about the trees will fucking eat you?
That will be...
He's going to the loggers.
I want to shout, we are not here to cut you, you've just got the wrong end of the stick.
Yeah, so...
Do we run? Like, considering he just did, in one move, half of his damage.
Look, you are the tank, I am squishy.
And I am on 27 health hit points.
I'm on 16, if it hits me again, I die.
I'm actually going to die by a fucking tree.
that'll be 14 points for...
I'm fucking dead.
Where is the next tree likely to pop up?
Is there more fucking trees?
25 damage.
Jesus.
It's quite a bit. Yeah, you kill him.
These fucking trees.
You just killed the trees that are attacking you. You're on this trail. Some of you are injured, one of you isn't, I don't think. What are you going to do? You know where you need to keep heading. Do you want to take a short rest, heal up, roll your hit dice if you need to, or do you want to just continue travelling on?
I want to do a short rest.
Alright, do you want to do a short rest?
Whoops, we should rest for an hour.
Sneaky nap.
Sneaky nap.
Cheeky nap.
Let's go put the hammocks up against the trees.
Yeah, so...
I don't need to.
Short rest takes about an hour. You can roll your hit dice. If you don't remember how to do it, you have 5. Yours a D10, 9. Basically, what you do is you roll a D10, and whatever you roll on that, you get to add back into your hit points.
I have a D6, so 4.
So you get to add 4 hit points, and that's you having used 1.
Is that a 6 or a 9? I always get
2.
confused.
I'm going to use 3.
6, yeah.
Alright, cool.
So I get
8 hit points back.
8 hit points back.
Yeah, and that takes place over an hour. You kind of sit down. You'll have a couple medical supplies. Any wounds you have, you'll wrap up, bandage them up, and get ready to go. Maybe splint anything that might be broken. You're probably not injured enough for that. And yeah, you're good and ready to go. So do you continue heading down the road you were heading down?
So either in that hour, can I summon? I can't remember whether I've got Gary with me. Or not.
I think you did, but if you didn't, you can resummon him.
Can I get him to just fly on and scout the area ahead?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Go and scout the area ahead and come back and just let us know if there's anything.
Yeah, he'll.
If there's any more trees.
If you didn't have him
If you spot any trees in the forest, Gary, let me know.
What the fuck?
If any of those trees looking a bit dodgy, let me know.
Yeah, you'll. I can't remember whether you did have him summoned. If you didn't, during the hour, you kind of mark out on the floor some arcane sigils that you remember the fairies teaching you from your childhood, and you say a couple words, and a random bird from the forest comes, swoops down, stands in the magical circle, and you know that this bird that came out seemingly nowhere is Gary. He just comes out of somewhere. He was probably nearby anyway. Your female bird.
Female bird called Gary.
Who
Who looks exactly like a Pidgey from Pokemon.
Yes. And I think has the stats of a hawk. So.
I'm fucking right. If it was a Pokemon, it's like level 50 Pidgey.
Yeah, and you'll say this to him. You have like a bit of a link, so he'll be able to feed back to you if there's something particularly wrong.
Right.
But not in words. He'll just be like, okay, there is something going on. He can't go too far away from you either, but he can scout ahead. So yeah, you continue to head along this road, and after this, you're kind of wary about the trees. You keep looking at them, but they all appear to be normal. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. And you actually start to come out into a sort of less dense area of forest. It starts to get lighter, and you're able to see a bit more, maybe a couple of flowers growing here and there. To be completely honest, the rest of that day of travelling is fairly uneventful.
I
not
like to
much.
imagine as I'm walking past, I'm like poking some of the trees. My sword just like poking them as I walk past.
Yeah, it's,
Just in
Like,
case.
this one's,
after
this one's
that,
fine.
nothing weird happens at all.
I'm just walking along, just like rubbing my hands within my hands, just going, don't burn it down, don't burn it down. So much wood.
Yeah, so you probably need to make camp for the night. It's getting late again.
Yep.
Okay, so we're on the lookout to see if there's anywhere that we can see that's nice, a nice
Cozy.
little Boy Scout camp.
Yes.
Do you have a proper look around?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. You'd have to go. You'd have to go off the trail for this. But can you make a survival check, please?
17.
11.
16.
All right. Yeah. Ibathane starts to have a look around, but you don't think you'll be able to find anything. But as you're looking, the two of you quite easily find a kind of a clearing in the woods. It's quite a ways off the track, and you're up towards sort of the mountain, like hill mountain areas. So there would be a cave nearby, but you find quite a good clearing that's sheltered on one side by a bit of a cliff face. You reckon you can make quite an easy camp here. It seems like a fairly safe place to stay. Should you're not, if any weather, you're not going to get disturbed by anything that attacks you is going to come from one direction. So it's easily
The bar.
yeah,
Freaking Nile.
Harry Styles with a rapier.
yeah. So yeah, you reckon you can make camp here?
Pain the half orc.
Now horn swinging a loot at you or something.
Just wake up
it's
and
like
Ibathane is beating a small teenager to death.
It's
What
like
are you
travelling
doing?
bar
I am
band.
saving the world.
Right, yeah. So you make camp here,
Yeah, absolutely.
and so you need a long rest. So it's going to be 8 hours.
Yes, please.
And you
Should we
need
do watches?
to do watches. Who's
Yes.
on watch?
I'll go first.
I'll go
Alright.
second.
I'll go third.
Well, yes.
Alright, so everything to begin, can you please make a perception check?
Yeah. Oh shit. 5?
Yeah, you, during the night, during your section of the watch, nothing much happens really. Nothing significant. Maybe
That you know.
Well,
Then
you
I'm
think-
aware of.
you maybe hear the sounds of a couple of woodland creatures, but they don't come near. I'm assuming you probably built a fire to get
Oh
around,
yes.
and nothing comes near. Who's on next?
3,
Cool.
9,
Perception.
13.
Nothing much happens during your watch either. You do notice that there are woodland creatures in the area, but they don't, from the noises, and you rolled fairly well in the survival beforehand, so you can probably tell what kind of animals they are. They're no predators. It's standard, probably like voles, all sort of. I don't know.
Food.
It's rodents, maybe some deer, nothing bad. And finally, Thorny can make a perception check.
6.
Alright, during your watch, you're sitting around and not much appears to be happening. And you actually start to get a bit distracted. You're sitting there and you're looking into the fire. In your mind, you're reminiscing about growing up. You're a bit confused. This is a strange new world. You don't recognise any of the places, and you're kind of staring into the fire, remembering your childhood, thinking about what sort of things would you be thinking about?
Oh, I'd be
Dirties.
one.
Dirties.
I guess they're probably wondering a little bit how my aunt and uncle are, who are bringing me up, and whether they care that I've left or whether they've noticed.
I just think you're still in the forest with the fairies right now.
Oh, goodness.
Wonder if the fairies
Did you
are following
Did you
me.
not tell them that you'd left, or did you just head off?
Did you just fuck off? We're going out.
No, I did tell them because it was after my coming of age ceremony. I was like, I'm leaving.
Leaving off into the world, trying to find your dad who you've never met.
Yeah, wondering what they're thinking right now.
Thank fuck he's gone.
Jesus, I
They're
thought you'd
going
never
to
leave.
without me. Aye.
All right. So as you're kind of staring into the fire and wondering about all this, you're clearly very distracted. You don't notice that the cracking of woods and the snapping of branches that you can hear as what's something clearly quite large appears to be approaching your campfire.
Oh shit.
As you finally notice, you get the sense that you're being watched. You have a quick look around and you see two eyes, probably about a foot apart, big staring eyes coming out, staring at you from just inside the tree line. These eyes are maybe 15 feet up in the air. What do you want? What do you do?
I cast Fireball.
You're sleeping.
You're
We're sleeping. We're having dreams
I
of
dream about casting Fireball.
and set the whole footage about burning the forest down.
Oh god. So big fucking eyes. What do I want to do?
I come in peace.
Wake us up! Wake us up!
You
I can't tell you, I'm asleep.
Wait, no,
Can I tell whether is it looking straight at me?
Looking straight
Is
at
it
you.
close to any of us? Like, where is it in relation to us?
Doing a quick drawing of the area you're kind of in.
I was gonna say, wake up the one of us that's closest to it.
See, I think as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, fuck, Gary, you had one job.
He's probably asleep as well, to be honest.
Barry is hanging from its fangs.
Oh, that would be horrible.
So if this guy's got the eyes the size of fists, can I use my minor illusion to make it look like I've got the same colour, the same eyes, but the size of two fists? So I'm just like a bigger version of it. And can I make
What if it thinks you're a female version of it?
Can I make a menacing roar type sound that will both roar at them but also wake these guys up?
And I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, roll intimidation.
Ow!
What's my intimidation on it? +1.
That's better than 0.
This is an important roll.
My intimidation will be +6.
That's a 7.
That will fail.
It actually thinks that
Yeah.
these are my eyes.
So yeah, this creature, you don't know what it is. You can clearly the two of you, 9 and Ibathane, are instantly awoken. And you look over to see essentially Tholme there with kind of a dark shape around him and two massive eyes as part of it. And the roar he gave wasn't that. It was a big roar, but it wasn't insane. But this creature kind of takes a step back, and its eyes kind of dilate and go to sort of a cat slit. They dilate and then constrict as it looks, and it's clearly wary of you. It doesn't understand what you are. It previously considered you as, oh, this is something I can eat, but now it's kind of looking, and it's more like, okay, this could be in like something serious. The two of you are now awake. What do you want to do?
I would like
What the
to.
hell?
I'm fucking right.
Do we want to fight it?
No,
I think I
I
wanna
have
steer
a
it
plan.
away.
Right, we're going to continue off on this. I want to use Phantasmal Force.
Okay.
I want to cast Phantasmal Force and create next to Connor with his eyes and shit. I want to make because it can only be 10-foot cube, so I want to make a 10-foot cube sized dragon, and I want it to roar at it. But it has to do a save check to see if it's another intelligence save check to see if it recognises that this is an illusion.
All right, give me one
But
moment.
it's a very convincing illusion that it sees, smells, hears, and it can do damage to it.
Oh wow.
Oh shit.
But it's like psychic damage.
Psychic
If it gets like near it and it technically could do damage to it, then it does like 1d6 damage.
So that's another intelligence check, yeah?
Another intelligence save check against my spell save DC.
Which is?
15.
15.
Ooh.
Alright. That's a crit fail. Yeah, this thing, so you create the image of this dragon that suddenly appears, and this thing... What languages do all of you have? Do any of you speak... what language is this? Do any of you speak giant?
No.
Alright.
No. Is this a giant?
Do any of you speak goblin?
No.
Okay then. You hear it say something in a language none of you understand. It's kind of a guttural, like, look, and as it, look, that was all that.
No, fine. I'm just laughing at he says this and we're like, what?
And you see the eyes instantly dilate and it runs like you. And as it runs, you hear the heavy sound of footsteps as it disappears off into the night.
Was it a yeti?
I just heard the thought of like, what would be nice one? High five!
Nice.
Illusions!
Wait.
I played to my class!
You did.
I kind of did.
I didn't use Fireball, wow!
Surprise.
You can each take 150 XP.
Ooh.
Sick.
Even 9? Because 9 didn't do anything. No,
I'm
joking.
Rude.
I wanted to attack it.
Wait, 150?
Mm-hmm.
Does this illusion last for a minute? So I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah, I know, as soon as mine, I'm just going to sit here with my massive eyes. And we chat and everything.
I'm actually going to be like, not that I leave it there, I'm like, I do not know how to get rid of this. I'm going back to bed.
The dragon sit outside.
Right.
See, the thing is, when I go back into the tent, the eyes just like still look sit above the tent.
Do I control it? Can I make it do what I want it to do?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, I make it act like a dog.
It's Phantasmal Force, so it
Scratch
can
it.
actually do like damage to stuff, can't it?
If it can should do damage to it, like these two can't see it.
Yeah.
But
You and the troll can.
But me and the
I may as well
troll-
tell
I
you,
can see it.
it was a troll.
It was a troll.
yeah, so like only the person that I do it on can see it. So like,
Oh.
like
So
basically,
we just looked around and you're sort of going,
I'm
oh.
like, ah!
And then looks around going, ah, and runs away. I'm like, what?
I thought like that was totally me.
I just looked at the hideous empathy and ran
It just also
away.
occurred to me that in a lot of our battles, you guys just sort of see me do nothing, and then like shit gets hurt, and I'm just like, "What are you doing? Do something!" I'm like,
Alright, so yeah, the rest of the night goes pretty uneventful then.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
I mean, that was, yeah, fair enough.
Definitely a really important NPC with a really important quest for us that we just shooed away.
No, that's alright, it was a troll, I may as well tell you. Trolls are quite fun to fight, but
I want to fight it.
no,
I'm sorry,
you'll get your chance, don't worry.
the troll,
In
that would
this
be another
game-
6 episodes of combat that you're going to have to listen to.
"Look, this is going to be good. This is the first time ever in all our time playing D&D, Pokemon, whatever, that we've actually dealt with something without a fucking attack."
I was going to intimidate it. I've got +6 intimidation. I was going to intimidate it to run away.
Okay, so yeah, the rest of the night goes on eventfully, and it's morning again. You continue on down the trail, and not long after you're travelling, after you set off, once again the forest starts to get quite dark again, but it's in a different way. The trees themselves, something seems to be kind of off about this area, almost like it's diseased in some way. All the trees are growing in sort of an odd way. They don't look natural, almost like you know how you grow a bonsai tree, you wrap wire around it and bend it slightly every day so that it grows in a certain direction. Well, that is how you make bonsai trees. So the way you get them to twist is you wrap a wire around it, like a fairly sturdy wire, and every day you push on it the way you want it to twist ever so slightly, and it will grow that way. At least I think that's how you make them. I saw something about it when I was a kid, and that's how you make a bonsai tree. Or it's almost like they've been done like that, but they all twist. The normal trees, all their branches twist and turn in weird directions. The flowers that were kind of growing all stop. Something just seems off, and the further along this trail you get, the more off it seems. But you can't quite place where it's coming from. But even as this is happening, the trees start to get thinner, and you come out into sort of, essentially imagine a massive clearing. If you look off a couple miles into the distance, there's more trees, and it's a continuation of this forest. But in the dead centre of this clearing, where there's a small river that runs through it, is a town. And I think this is probably where you're going. It matches the description of Ohmsford.
Okay.
Sweet.
It's probably about a mile. I say a clearing. It's more like there's forest growing around it, but it's a couple miles wide.
Right.
It's a big clearing, and there's enough in it that a decent sized town is in the middle, and there's maybe a mile radius of nothing on either side.
Okay.
And as you approach, you're approaching from the south. You walk along the road.
Obviously, my really intelligent bird has told me all about this town.
Yeah.
There's more fucking trees on the way.
He can't quite go that far. At the most he can probably go away is a mile. So as you're approaching, he might be able to go into the town.
But did he come back at any point?
Yeah, probably. To be honest, the entire time we've been travelling, he's probably been popping back and forth, being like, "Hey, I don't think I can find there. Hey, it all seems safe up ahead. he probably started telling you that everything seems weird. He would have felt it, particularly being like a natural creature. Would have felt something wrong about the area, but wouldn't have, once again, he wouldn't have been able to say. She wouldn't have been able to say what exactly is wrong.
Can I do an Arcana check?
Yeah, sure. On the area,
Yeah.
Is it just is
14?
Nature
14.
check, is that a thing?
yeah. You can do a nature check.
Yeah, I've got +3 for that. 17.
All right. With the nature check, you can tell that something is something is very much affecting the life forms. It's probably why the trees are growing in a weird direction. The natural energies that run through the area have been disturbed by something, and it is causing essentially. Trying to think of the right word to say. It's almost like the natural energies that run through the world that, for example, druids can harness. They've been blocked and diverted, so that they're no longer running through this area. So what normally governs the growth and the production of animals and natural energies is no longer happening. So it's growing which way it can. With your Arcana check, because it's kind of different, you're looking more at the actual nature energies. You're looking at the general like magics, which is they're similar and they interact, but not quite the same. Yours is you can tell that something is essentially using the magical natural energy that run through the area. There's almost none. There's normally a background.
It.
Yeah, almost like draining it.
To do something else.
To do something else. That's what you can tell. You know, Tholme, that essentially is gone. Like, you know that something's gone. You would be able to tell with your Arcana check everything that it's been diverted to be used for something else.
Right.
That was a really long explanation that was so unnecessary.
I cannot sense background magic.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Reason for Fog Forest.
And that is also something that you'd quite be very attuned to, being a wild sorcerer. Your power comes from background magic.
Right, so I'm just like...
It's depleted in the area.
But I can tell that it's going to... It's not just gone.
Yeah,
it's
you
gone
can tell,
else.
just by the way that it's been done, because there's
Kind
still a bit.
So it's like it's receding rather than it's not there.
Yeah,
right.
it's like someone's diverted the river, essentially.
Okay.
So there might be a bit, and you can tell there used to be there, but it's not that it's naturally gone, it's been diverted.
Right.
Can we do something to sense whereabouts it's been going towards, if that makes sense?
The issue is that it's over a very large area, so you wouldn't... it's not
Does it seem like it's going into Ohmsford, though?
No.
Away from Ohmsford? Can we tell a sort of direction?
The closer you get to Ohmsford, the more it gets, but having not tried the other areas, you're just coming from the south, so it could be to the north that it's occurring, or to the east or west, and you just happen to also be getting closer to the centre of it.
So Ohmsford's got a really strange, renewable energy system.
We should go to Ohmsford.
So as you approach, it's about a mile, and it's kind of a winding track. Not massively, because it is essentially just a big open clearing. And as you approach, can you all make perception checks, please?
That'll be a 2.
18.
Alright.
Damn it.
To be honest, you would also be able to see Ibathane. As you're approaching from the south, you can see that this is a big town. It's got high walls surrounding it. You'd expect there to be people manning the gate and there to be people coming in and out. There's no one. At the gate, you can see nobody going in or out at all. You can see no guards guarding it whatsoever. And as you approach the town and as you get quite close, it appears that the gate itself is closed by a large portcullis. You know what a portcullis is?
Yeah.
It's a portcullis, so it's metal.
I'll just jump.
But as you get even closer,
made of? Oh my god!
stone.
Just jump over the top of it.
Yeah.
It's made of stone. The walls are about 20 feet high.
I can
Unfortunately,
it's long jump.
Long jump is 30.
I can figure something out.
Does the band...
Can you throw me up and then I can jump?
Not very strong, but yes. Do you know your band of jump? Does it guarantee that she lands as well? She should jump 30 feet in the air and just fucking splat when she
No, it
hits the
doesn't
ground
guarantee the
again.
landing. It just means it basically means you can double jump, but you can't guarantee the landing.
So like she might actually injure herself on the landing.
She could, yeah.
I've got a +6 to athletics.
Okay, so we need to be.
So I'm pretty good.
You'll still have to roll athletics, but it kind of makes it easier. So to do like a gap jump, it makes it because you can jump 30 without any problem, but it's the landing that you need the athletics.
Okay, so we just need to be a bit careful, like not just like throw your foot and
Shall we get
Although you do have the featherfall belt,
I do.
What the fuck?
so you won't take any damage. From
I'm
it.
the magic fucker, and I've got a jacket.
I actually
You
didn't
genuinely
intend on
made
that happening,
You
but
genuinely made
I
9
did.
into Jar Jar Binks.
What?
She made 9 into Jar Jar Binks.
Am I such a...
because you can.
In all the games, Jar Jar Binks
Yeah.
is like that you can jump really high.
Yeah.
In the Lego games.
In the Lego
Gungans
Gungans can jump really high, and they don't take falling.
Like, all their characters have like a special ability, like Jedi can do the Force stuff, and other characters can do like grappling hooks and stuff, and Jar Jar's he can double jump.
I don't want to be Jar Jar.
But it's like triple
Give
jump.
me your stuff.
Yeah, she can triple jump essentially. Hers
That's so-
triples her jump distance.
She go on some weird scaly rabbit ears.
I mean, no,
That's
she has horns, but
That's the
not
most
quite the
horrible
same.
thing you've ever said.
Wait, rabbit ears? Is that from? That's in Smash Bros, isn't it? When you get the rabbit ears, and you can jump high.
Yeah, it is.
Oh no, that wasn't. It
Okay.
wasn't from that. It was meaning like Jar Jars.
Yeah.
Oh right.
Anyway,
I'm not
Anyway,
being Jar
back
Jar
to the
Binks.
task at hand.
As me and everything walking up,
Yeah.
having this
Just like,
discussion about
Nine,
oh,
as-
she's like
Smash
Jar Jar
Bros
Binks.
Kirby is OP.
Discussion with Super Smash Bros.
Kirby is OP.
It is.
Anyway,
So yeah, Nine would notice this first. As you're approaching, you can see the portcullis. But at the bottom centre of it, this is about 20 foot tall and probably about 15 foot wide.
Okay.
As you approach it, you can notice that a big, essentially, crater has been blasted through in the middle, and the bars have all been blasted inwards
still have to
and
jump.
are pointing in towards the town. So the portcullis is down, but there's a big hole that's been blasted through it.
I appreciate
And the
handiwork.
metal, as you get there, the metal gates behind it have a similar hole of essentially like it's been shot with a very large bullet, and it's all cratered in and made a hole to go directly through the middle.
It's blown inwards.
It's blown inwards,
Well,
yeah.
when we're to someone's attacked
Some
from
would
the
be
outside.
coming from outside.
should I have a? Can I get Gary? Can I get her to go and have a wee look inside, and then maybe have like a wee sneak in myself and just have a look around?
Yeah. So Gary will fly up across the top of the town, and she'll maybe pop back and basically say she can't see anyone in the immediate area. So she'll be able to say the coast seems to be clear.
So look, this has been done by a spell or by brute force.
Or Ibathane's fucking dream man.
Do an investigation check if you want to have a look as you sort of walk in.
17.
Yeah, you can probably tell this has been done by. It's been done by a couple different things. A large enough and powerful enough fireball could do this. A large enough just straight up blow could do this. You can tell that it's basically been hit by something very powerful. But magic is probably
More viable.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You don't know of anything that could hit this mechanically to do this.
Okay,
Magic would
okay.
make sense.
Okay.
So do you sneak in?
Yeah.
Roll stealth.
Take it 9 now, waiting. We're waiting back.
Darby was like, he sneaks
That'll
and
be
I
a
walk in
28.
behind them.
I will be. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Fucking 19. What is your modifier make that?
Plus
Nice.
9.
Plus 9?
I know.
What?
He gets double proficiency because he's got expertise in stealth.
If you add up most of my stuff, I don't get a plus 9. You don't! I get a plus 8! If you add up all of my modifiers.
So yeah, you sneak in. You kind of like Mission Impossible roll through, go up
I
to
just
the
don't
edge.
exist.
Yeah,
go
like
in.
the two of you are like, where the fuck is Tom? He doesn't tell you where he's going. Be like, oh, he's probably just sneaking off.
Batman
And
disappeared.
yeah, as you kind of walk through the gates, you open up into a very large street. It's probably about 15 foot wide. And you find the area completely deserted, as Gary had already told you. The streets and walls of the building, as you're looking around, clearly show the signs of battle. There's maybe a blood spatter here or there.
Okay.
There's scorch marks up some of the buildings that are all made of wood. There's like marks, like chunks been taken out of the like logs and stalls, crashed markets, all that kind of thing. No bodies though. And as you kind of look around, everything appears to be covered in sort of like, you know what a patina would be?
No.
So it's like, imagine I got a paintbrush that was like had really stiff bristles and it had paint on it, went like that, and you get loads and loads of small dots.
Yep.
Oh,
So you're like
splatter.
flick it.
Like
kind of thing.
splatter,
Splatter.
but like it's like that. Everything is
fine.
covered in a splatter of little black dots, no bigger than a couple millimeter wide. Everything in the area is covered in this.
Black. Can I look at the dots? Do they look as if?
Yeah.
Are they holes or are they squidgy? Or
As you kind of look,
wet?
yeah. So you go up to one of these walls maybe, or that actually covers the floor, which is made out of like a white stone that's now mottled with lots of little black dots. You kind of look at it and you scrape away at it, and you realise that every one of these little black dots is metal.
Ooh.
And with the decent investigation check you had earlier, you can probably guess that the metal door that was blasted in, it melted it and essentially fired hot shrapnel through this area. And as you're looking around, you actually are able to see the outlines of people on walls where people were standing, and they got hit by the shrapnel rather than the walls. And this massive area, it's about 15 foot wide, but it's maybe it gets less and less as you're going along, but maybe for 50 feet, there's just everything's covered in like molten metal shrapnel.
So like on like the reverse of the building's not facing the gate. There's nothing there.
Nothing there.
And so the bodies outlined on the walls, but there's no bodies to be seen. And there's
none at all.
Ibathane recognises that this is probably something very powerful that he should be worried about, but he's also nursing a semi.
That's the one that killed me,
but having like a quick investigation around, you can tell that there's nobody around. So do you go and get the other two?
I'm gonna.
I'll
come in after.
Yeah. So you guys see the same thing.
Is
you can
there
probably go up and investigate.
Is there a town hall?
There would be. This is quite a big town.
Because if we're looking for we're looking for a blacksmith and the mayor.
I was going to say, is everyone looks kind of like barricaded? Like they
Yeah,
tried
that's not a bad
to.
idea.
Like
at this
one last
point,
stand type
no,
place.
not from what you can see.
I think we should probably go look for town hall.
Yep.
All right.
Sounds
So
good.
as you guys have a wander around, you kind of have a choice. There are large main streets. There's a large main street you're going on that you can see at the end splits off into two, or every 10 feet or so there's a smaller alleyway you can go down, which creates sort of like a network of smaller streets. There's the main high street and lots of alleyways in between houses. You can tell some of these used to be shops, but a lot of the buildings are complete, like nothing's in them. They're completely deserted.
Stuff's been taken.
Stuff's been taken out.
It's like completely empty.
Anything there's nothing of value.
Oh, that's cool. Is there any way to tell how long ago this happened?
Is the metal still warm?
No.
Like
it's all.
shrapnel bits?
Yeah, you probably have to tell what would have happened is little droplets of molten metal flew out, but they've solidified on whatever they hit nowadays.
Because what I'm wondering is this from the very first attack that they talked about, or has this happened? Like, they were attacked one time, defended it, and then were they attacked again and completely wiped out, or is this just from that one first attack that they told us about?
I do not know. He did not specify.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Davith would have said, if this had happened before he knew about it, he would have been like, whole town destroyed, everyone wiped out, like nothing there. He wouldn't be like, oh, I heard there were some snake attacks there. You should go and talk to these people. So it seems like this might have happened since.
But is this relevant to the snakes then? Because isn't what they've
Do I
said
sense any
before?
snaky feelings?
Check for snakes.
Check for snakes.
Roll for snakes.
Roll for snakes. That's a 1.
15.
10?
No snakes.
10?
No snakes around.
Down.
Wait, 10 snakes. Roll initiative.
With my 1. I feel so much snake.
Everywhere snakes.
Everyone's face, you are a snake.
I look around and I mistake
I feel
everything
that-
for a snake man and draw my rapier.
In my opinion, the snakes are probably magic, and this is probably magic here, so we should maybe connect it.
The logic seems sound.
Like,
We
the snakes
haven't
might just-
heard of anything else.
The snakes just might be minions of greater power.
Are there any like footprints or anything like leading
Or
out
slithers?
or like can
It's already fucking snake marks.
yeah or some slithery bits?
Is there any skills?
Any way of like trying to track them? Track movement through and then
I
maybe
think what
ideas.
this would
I
be.
use my wand of Weasley.
He survived it, wouldn't it?
That'd be an investigation check.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Can I keep my one from earlier on or should I?
No, make another one.
Balls. 7.
So that'll be a 5.
If you took a 1 and times it by 3, that's what I got.
So 9 did the best.
Yay!
Wow.
The least shit.
As you're looking around, you would notice that there are these shapes of bodies, and you probably notice that on, like, essentially the outlines of bodies, maybe the dirt near them has been disturbed. You can tell that bodies were dragged away from here,
Okay.
and they seem to have been dragged further into the town.
So they weren't fully disintegrated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they weren't
right.
fully disintegrated, but you can tell there's someone has cleared this area, and they cleared it towards the middle of the town.
I point this out to the guys and I say, I'm going to follow that.
Can
Yeah,
I
this-
stealthy
the person who
stealth with these guys behind me going into the middle of the town?
Yeah,
right?
clever.
Alright.
Do you think the person who cleared the bodies also cleared the shops?
It makes sense.
I don't like this place, eh? Why are we here?
Ohmsford is not getting a good rating on TripAdvisor.
Would not recommend. Was not what we expected at all.
Fantasy TripAdvisor.
TripAdvisor, I give 1 fireball.
So going,
I mean, it's clean. At least you can get that.
It's not though, is it? It's covered in metal shrapnel and black
But the-
soot and shit.
The bodies have been cleared up and all the debris, so I mean, it's
Yes,
tidy.
good cleaning service, yes. They don't turn the nose up at bodies, which for us is good.
so yeah, further, how do you want to proceed further into town? There are the main streets, where you'd be more exposed, and if anyone was watching, you'd be easy to see. But there's also the sort of alleyways in between the main streets that would be harder to. It's a less direct route, and if you were to be attacked or anything, you would be in a worse position. But you're less likely to be seen by anyone bad or anything like that.
I think, Tholby, you should sneak behind us and stay out of sight. But I think we should take main road, because if there is someone here, I would like them to see us.
Okay, what?
Well, they might not be evil.
So am I sneaking on ahead?
You
So no,
could
if
be
you,
our
if you sort
backup.
of like, yeah, so basically if we walk down the main street and like there is like the mayor or someone like happens to see us, then, or so it's like a survivor,
Yeah.
then
no,
they
I'm
would
happy
see
with
us
that.
and they say hello. But if we do get attacked,
You can
then
sneak and kill them.
you know we've got a tank and our shit, whatever the fuck I am, glass.
Glass cannon.
Glass guy.
No, more just glass ornament. Just like, but then we're sort of there, and then you can like sneak attack them. So we've like ambushed the ambushers.
Yeah.
So can I be like, so as these guys are sort of walking on alley, going ahead, but speed like darting around, like going behind as well, and looking
Okay,
like
yeah.
absolutely everywhere, like
Roll
running
stealth
about.
for that.
I like
This is
that.
when I roll a 1.
Yeah.
Not that Jesus.
Oh, right, well the +9.
What's that?
26.
So 26.
26.
Oh, you're doing well.
Just made it. Just.
Oh, only just, yeah. God, I was
yeah.
looking for 25.
Yeah, you kind of go down one of the side alleys and you maybe climb up into one of the main buildings and you kind of dart from, essentially, there are a couple balconies, dart from balcony to balcony as these guys essentially walk down the middle of the street. How are you literally just walking down the middle of the
You know
street?
what I just
Yeah.
figured? I could go on the rooftops and scout ahead on the rooftops as well.
This is fine, I will walk down the street by myself. I am perfectly happy to do this. Just like, can you all leave me, I think it's a 15-foot radius around me? In case I want to use a
Thunder
thunder wave.
No, I'll not do that. I feel like you need to be supervised.
No, you should definitely do that. Just do that. I should be supervised. Fuck you.
I just
So
leave
true.
you on your own.
Hi, this is James. You're probably tired of listening to us, so this is your chance to go do something else for a little bit. Whilst you're at it, why don't you get in contact with us? We have an email at letstryroleplay@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at letstryroleplay. And we've also got a Facebook page that you can go and like. At the moment, we're releasing once per week, but hopefully we'll get our act together and start doing that twice per week. Please tell your friends about us. The word of mouth is pretty much the only way we have of getting out there at the moment. And enjoy the rest of the episode.
Alright, so as you're walking down the streets, you can come, as I said, at the very end of the street, you come to a divergence. You can go either left or right. Which way would you want to go?
Left or right?
Yeah.
So I've been jumping around rooftops. What can I see? Left and right.
Left goes towards the river, and it goes sort of towards a big long street that follows the length of the river. Right goes to a bit of a town square, most likely where there's markets. There's a big sort of gazebo area in the middle. Gazebo, what's like a bandstand type thing in the middle, where so it's kind of like an official looking square.
Right.
Square maybe, because that would be, you might find people more likely there.
So I'm gonna cast one of my cantrips, message, and communicate with the other guys, just like telling them back my findings.
Yep.
I'm thinking going to the square, but can I see the directions of like the drag marks of where people are being dragged?
After like most likely what they've done is they've dragged bodies. If you were to clear an area of bodies, you wouldn't drag each individual body. You drag them, put them on a cart, and take that one cart.
Oh, I see.
So it'd be kind of they're not going to drag them the whole way, most likely, because and with the drag mark you found 9. It went for a bit, and then you can probably quite easily tell that they lifted the body up. They dragged them a distance and then lifted them up.
Right.
There's no.
It'd be difficult to. There'd be no discernible track marks. This town is like quite clean, even though it's deserted. Like the streets are all cobbled with like a polished stone, polished white stone. So it's actually like really nice. The buildings themselves, while all wood, are actually pretty decent, especially in this area.
Guys, this could be our time. We could make this our time.
Oh, but I thought you were
it.
giving me a look because you were like, it's made of wood. Oh no, we had opposite thoughts. You want to keep it, I want to burn it to the ground.
I'm gonna go to the town square. I think it's
so
just more populated, more.
I'll send
More places to
back my
check.
immediate thought of agreement. I'm just kidding, yeah.
As you're kind of heading towards, as you go right and you walk down the street, it's fairly similar. Not quite the first street you were going down was it was an entryway into the city or town. So it's very wide, some very nice shops, and it's smaller, still a big, wide high street essentially. And there are what was clearly shops on either side.
Yeah.
As you're walking along, you actually come to one building which is. You notice it is quite significant. It's the only stone building you've seen so far. And outside is a hanging sign which has a hammer and anvil on it.
Blacksmith.
Yeah.
In.
Okay, have a wee.
In. What's happened till 9?
Have a wee sneaky look through the window,
Right.
and then
Knock on the door.
It's very dark inside. The door probably actually hangs slightly open. Not off its hinges or anything, but it probably hangs slightly open. And if you pop a head inside, it's very dark. You can't see a thing. The windows, like the windows are probably actually like quite small compared to the other buildings.
Right.
The forge lies quiet. No heat coming from it at all. Hasn't been used in probably a little over a week. Maybe at least a week, because I'm going to say that's how long they take to completely cool. There's no, you know what? There'd probably be like a half-finished sword or two lying around. Maybe like some spearheads.
No, like
something like that. Nothing.
Steel plate armor.
Nothing cool. No. Looking. Do you want to have like a proper look around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Roll investigation.
I'm liking this. Is really
18.
Cool. Oh, it's nice. I got 5.
18.
So I
Alright,
know
cool.
I'm in a blacksmith.
Yeah.
That's my hint.
So.
This is.
Yeah. 9, you stay and kind of guard the door so you don't have a look around. But follow me and everything. You start properly looking through, and you look in like cupboards and stuff, and you do find maybe 1 or 2 weapons. They're very, very well made. Still lying in like probably some in like big shipment crates, clearly being sent to somewhere. You find nothing magical. I'm gonna say you find 10 gold.
Is that between each or
20 gold, 10 gold each.
Just somebody take it.
Yeah.
Part of your
Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah,
I'll just take them.
Yeah, you just take
Yeah.
it. Do we? Is there any daggers?
Yeah. If you. Highs or lows?
Highs.
Yeah. There are some. You can probably find a couple daggers.
Oh yeah.
Are
Well
they
made.
better than the ones that I have?
I mean, mechanically, no, but they probably, in terms of the
They're
story,
nicer.
they're nicer. Yeah, they
Okay,
are very nice, well-made
I'll
daggers.
dump my daggers and
Alright,
just
yeah.
take them.
Can I just take one of your daggers? I've got 1 dagger at the moment. I think it'd be kind of cool to have 2.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
take
you
another
can have one of my old ones.
Also, long swords. Better than what I would have?
one. Yeah.
As in damage-wise, or just pretty-wise?
No, just in terms of
Looking good.
mechanically, they're not making a difference, but they are very nice. They would be, they probably, like, when I say these are very nice, they are extremely well made. Like, they're, to put it in terms of something, they're like Valyrian steel well made, where it's like, oh, you instantly hold it, it feels instantly more balanced, it's perfectly made. Like the seam between hilt and blade, it doesn't look like it's been slotted together. It looks like it's been forged as one sort of thing. You know it wouldn't be. And in each of the hilts, even the daggers, maybe on any spear tips, like just below where it would connect to any spears, there's sort of like a little symbol. I'm going to make up what the symbol is now.
Can I dual wield longswords?
No, you theoretically could, but you take a lot of disadvantage because they're both heavy weapons.
Yeah.
If you have light weapons, you can dual wield them, but if they're heavy, it's difficult because you generally use your longsword two-handed at the moment.
Yeah, because I don't have a shield.
You don't have a shield. On the topic of which, there probably would be a shield.
Yes! Go take the shield, please!
The actual symbol itself that is emblazoned in the hilt of all these, any spear tips, it's kind of embossed, maybe acid etched even, like this is proper high-tech shit. Is a stylized E inside of a circle, like with flowing vines coming out of the E, and it's like a proper.
Because its name's Eldris.
Yeah. And that'll be on everything. The shield you got has this quite
has
big.
the star in the middle with the red bands, like Captain America's.
Oh, okay. I did not get that at all. Yeah, the shield you've got would have this on it. It's would have like a big E stylized E.
I like it.
E for eccentric. Is that how you spell it?
Excelsior!
Immediately, as I was saying it, it's like dyslexia.
Is that how you spell it?
Eccentric, yeah.
Alright,
Yeah,
cool.
eccentric.
It's not going to start with a
ECC.
fucking D, is it?
Well, it could be an X.
I was really worried it was an I.
Eccentric.
Eccentric.
So yeah, you have a look around. Don't find much else. Maybe looking through a drawer, you would find a probably an order request, like an order form from River's Edge to here, dated for quite a while ago, not fulfilled.
Yeah, when were the last orders?
Last orders would probably be the last ones that, well, as I said, there were ones boxed and ready to send off. They would be probably 2 weeks ago.
So that's
When
shit
you
starts
do
going
then
down.
find these ones for River's Edge, you notice these are for 2 months ago. These have not fulfilled at all. He would have their simple request he would have the stock, but he's not sent it off at all.
Is there a diary or something anywhere?
No, you wouldn't find anything like that.
Oh.
Any paperwork left behind is strictly business.
Right.
So, and then we've searched every ounce of this building.
Pretty much.
Does he?
Yeah, so the upstairs would have been a couple of areas, office areas, the shipping area, probably where you found most of the stuff that you've collected. It does look like a lot of it's been cleared out.
Yeah.
Like there are other shipping boxes that are empty, but you were able to scavenge what you guys have. Speaking of, when you're on the upper floor of this building, it's a 2-story building. Can you all make perception checks, please?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
17.
15.
Alright, yeah, you would probably actually all notice this. It's most likely when you're reading. The three of you are probably at a desk. You've come upstairs at this point.
Showing off my new shield.
Yeah, at a desk, and you're kind of reading through some shipping documents and some order forms, kind of trying to figure out when all the shit started going down. And as you're doing it, you see the three of you all notice that the window behind you notice from a rooftop across, you notice movement, and you look up, and essentially what you see is a small halfling man dart across a Davis a gnome, dart across a rooftop and swing, like grab on and sort of backhand swing into a room, and then you're able into like a building, and he starts going through loads of drawers and stuff, and you're able to see through the window that he is looking through all these drawers. That was cocked. That just didn't work. I'm going to roll it in front of you. Alright.
It was a 12.
It was a 12.
We don't know what for.
Go
after him.
Fucking chase this.
Jump out the
cunt
window.
down.
Chase him down.
Yeah, I'm running after. I'm jumping after him.
And then we.
Oh, 30-foot jump out a fucking window, motherfucker, and
Yes.
grab onto me while you're at it. I'm
Take you back.
for some reason, I always think I'm a halfling when I know I'm not.
Leo.
Most likely because of Leo.
Yeah, as he's kind of looking around these, and the three of you haven't seen another person. You're kind of standing there just watching him. You're like,
Just like
all right.
heads
And you're also
cocked
probably a
and
bit
stuff.
impressed because he literally like was running along. Imagine like a full-on Spider-Man runs along, grabs hold of some guttering, and just swings feet first through this window, and immediately rolls and is instantly just grabbing stuff. And he's running around and he's looking through drawers, and he maybe grabs something, stuffs it into a bag of his. He's going. This is just a residential house, so he's probably grabbing like candles and stuff, and candelabras, like silverware, and stuffing it all into this one fairly small bag at his waist. The two of you that did slightly better would be able to tell this is a bag of holding.
I turn to 9 and go, okay, this time we can do it your way.
Should we try and both of us go out and try and like corner the house or come at him from different
Oh, both
directions?
sides in case he tries to run. That's not a bad shout.
Is the house
But
made
as I
up?
was,
Is the house made up?
wood.
No, don't burn the house down. No.
It is connected to all the other houses.
No, it's right. Right.
That's
Oh,
gonna
you
make
just-
him want you even more.
Yeah. Just went from semi to a full chop.
Plan. I could go full on out, like be in front of him so he knows I'm there while you're sneaking around in case he tries to run, so he doesn't know that he just thinks it's me
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
here, and you two can be at the other side of the
I'll
house.
try and stealth my way to the other side.
Okay.
In case he runs.
So you
but
try and
as-
scare him to run away into me.
Or
Yeah,
in
I'll-
case he runs, he just thinks it's me, and if I figure out he's safe and everybody comes.
What am I doing in this plan?
You can go outside of the thing.
I'll
Where's the
watch from this
distance?
window. I'll just watch from this window.
I was gonna say, as he's doing this, and you three are standing at this window looking out at him,
Like this.
he starts looking through a drawer, looks up, and makes direct eye contact with the three of you, and just kind of stands there like.
And I go,
Uh,
hello!
And then, as he does this, he turns around and disappears behind, and you can't see him anymore.
Ah, Jesus! Right, I'm jumping out the window. I'm going to the house.
All right, roll athletics. You run jumping through the window.
Yep, through the window.
All right, go for it.
I'm worried.
I'm gonna. Can
I go after her.
9.
I also want to jump out the
Lucky
window, not thinking what I'm
Take
doing.
4 damage from the glass, as your jump isn't great.
Yep.
But you are able to essentially jump
And use my ring as well. So
yeah,
my
I'm assuming you use your ring. So yeah, you take a step back, jump through. The glass
What are you doing?
cuts you a little bit, and
I'm gonna try
you
and get up.
roll. Your featherfall belt stops you from taking any damage as you hit the floor outside, and you're able to get essentially. I suppose if you jump up as well, you hit the floor and then jump up again and grab hold of the window that you saw him through and pull yourself up into it.
Is there?
He's not in the room from what you can see, but the direction he darted appears to be going to downstairs.
Can I literally just drop back down to the bottom of the
Yeah,
house?
sure.
Yeah, I'll drop back
Can
down.
can I like jump out, climb down some guttering, and just like stealth over towards?
Yeah,
where
sure.
the-
You roll acrobatics for you.
I said the word stealth, so I hope he said roll
Well,
stealth.
you can roll stealth as well, but roll acrobatics first. You're decent at acrobatics, though.
Am I?
Yeah, you should
It
be.
requires
It's a
dex.
deck.
+6, yeah.
So
Alright,
11?
so 11, and then stealth
18.
will be 18.
Alright, yeah, so you're able to get down. You're not quite as just fucking actually Captain America doing the shield jump out the window.
Actually, it was.
Yeah, you in a similar way to how he did it, you jump out and you grab hold of some guttering, you slide down it, and you run over and probably clamber up through, and you're able to get to the upstairs, and you don't think he probably noticed you. Like, you did it completely silently. What do you want to do?
I want to jump out the window.
Want to jump out
I
the
see
window?
them do it and I just want to do it.
Okay, then go for it, roll
I'll be
athletics.
part of it.
13.
Alright, yeah, you... you're not taking damage because she knocked out the window.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you're not quite as quick as 9, but you're probably about the same speed as Tholme, and you get down onto the floor quite easily.
I was kind of hoping I'd get a 1. So just like you just jump out and I jump, catch my leg and somersault out the fucking window.
What do you want to do once you're down at the bottom?
I'm gonna go after 9. It's 9. What are you doing? You're running after him?
She kind of
gone
jumped
to the
up to the
top.
window and then dropped back down, and she's at the door now.
Yeah.
You've gone through that Folmey's gone through that window into the upstairs area, and he's in this small room where you probably be able to tell the way he darted was towards these stairs.
I want to barrel through the door.
You want to barrel through the door?
Well,
Yeah.
Do you guys? I'm actually in the house. Do you guys want to like corner all the windows and doors openings
I
to
can
get
sit at the
out of
front.
the house? So if he tries to escape, you guys will be there, and I'll try and sneak through.
Definitely
the
not
house
smart enough for that and barreling through the door.
No, but I can use message and tell you. Or do you want to barrel
It
through
is.
the door?
We're not in proper initiative, but it is your turn. So yeah, you can barrel through the door.
Can I go through the door?
Are you going to the front door where I am?
Continue
yeah,
using.
but I'd have sort of got to the door before you.
Yeah, because
you'd have been up at the
you
window.
jumped out and then went up to the window.
And I'd have landed
As you
in-
drop down, he
Yeah.
barrels through it underneath you. I'll use the 13 you got, and yeah, you kind of burst through the door. Probably take 1 point of bludgeoning damage as it kind of buffets your shoulder.
Okay.
And come into. It's not a particularly big house. It's 2 rooms, downstairs, upstairs. You come into this room. You can't see him, but there is a back door that is currently closed, and there's 2 back windows that are currently also closed.
Can I talk?
Yeah.
I just want to shout like and say, "Hello, we don't want to hurt you. We just want to talk."
Okay. I'll probably go back to 9 now. What do you want to do?
She fucking twats him in the face.
She finds him and brings his corpse to us. We're like, I suppose problem solved.
I kind of want to shield hit him in the face.
Well, we don't know what he is yet.
I just want to see what that would do. I've seen it in, I think Captain America does it. I just want to see what it would happen.
You should barge it. If you do find him, we need to find him first. But if you do, like, just barge him like your shield up against a wall, and like pin him to the wall with your
Okay.
shield.
No, I kick him towards you, and you lift your shield over your head, and as he comes towards you, bash him into the ground.
So what, you've gone into the front.
I'm
so
in the
I know
front
you're in
door.
the front.
I'm
I'm
upstairs.
going to go to the
So
back.
I've gone in the front. You're going to go in the back.
I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm going to go into the back and
This is our
hit the
first
door
evening.
down as well. But again, saying we're not here to hurt you. We just want to know what's been going on.
But we have gone in his front and back.
You rolled deception there.
No, what does it do?
You actually do
Oh
not
no!
want to
Can I
hurt-
roll intimidation? Like we don't want to hurt you, but
Yeah, roll intimidation then.
so what would I say? It's like we don't want to hurt you.
We don't want to hurt you, but if we have to, we will.
Yeah, we just want to find out what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, roll intimidation.
11?
I should have done intimidation. I got +7.
+6.
From
That's what I thought.
the room in which you are, I'm going to assume for me, what have you been doing in this time?
I've just been sneaking around the house trying to find him. Upstairs,
Okay.
downstairs.
Yeah, so you have a quick look around the upstairs and you can't see him at all, and you start to come down the stairs. And as you are starting to come downstairs, you hear 9 say, "Hey, we don't want to hurt you, but we can if we have to." And he'll kind of appear out of a shadow, almost like, he'll appear out of the darkness, almost directly in front of you, and looking at you, Tholme, he'll go, all right, you got me. I don't want any trouble. Let's just talk.
So I go to take a seat, my friend.
Will do. Let's
There's
go
no
downstairs. Let's go downstairs.
Get on the ground!
Get out of here!
No.
And the two of you at the front door and you at the back door, would see Tholme walking down the stairs with this halfling. Now you're getting a better look at him. He's, halfling height anyway is pretty small, so he's probably about knee height for most of you. Tholme's the smallest of all of you. He's maybe mid-thigh. But for the other two of you, especially Ibathane, who's 6'8", he's tiny. About the size of an 8-year-old
You are
child.
so cute!
About the size of an 8-year-old child, and
Right,
he's
okay.
dressed all in sort of leather armor, various plates, and it's all very well made, very well stitched. You can probably tell it's hand stitched. He's got a sort of a pouch going around his shoulder, and it's fastened at his waist. And on his back, he has a short sword and a crossbow, available to each to one hand.
Probably a rogue.
Crossover on his back. Perhaps, if you were to put it into those terms, yeah.
Yeah.
And he sits down, he pulls out a chair, sits cross-legged at this table, puts his arms on the table and says, "What do you want to know?"
Where do babies come from?
Did you know my father?
No, I'll sit him down. And I'll like, so
yeah.
you and me, mate, we're very much the same. Tell me exactly why you're here.
Well, where have you come from?
So I asked you first.
Where are you coming from?
Well, I'm from round here.
From Ohmsford.
From Ohmsford, yeah.
So do you know what's happened?
Like, do you not know what's happened?
Do we look as if we know what's happened?
Not really.
We don't look like we know anything.
So we don't know. We don't know.
You've asked-
We're putting on our game faces, but we haven't got a fucking clue what's going on.
Sometimes cause shit to happen and we still don't know what's happening.
Alright, so you've asked a question. I get to ask a question.
Oh, Jesus.
Where are
Well,
you
We
come
didn't get
from?
an answer.
No, he's right. These are the rules.
Since what? River's Edge.
Oh fuck! I thought you were saying something else. I thought you suddenly just come out with like a spell.
To that, he'll kind of cock his head and be like, ask your question.
What happened here?
We were attacked.
Oh, for Jesus' sake.
Why have you come?
Because we were told you were attacked.
We've come to help your town.
Who attacked you?
We don't know.
Where's everybody gone?
We're holed up in the northeast part of town.
We got 2 questions then.
Fine, I guess.
High five.
I don't need to ask you more questions. I need. If you're here to help, you're here to help.
It's pretty good. Yes, we want to help.
He'll probably notice 9.
I was going to say, because I was just like...
That you have
gauntlet thing.
the fist symbol on your breastplate, and he'll be like,
And I look at him and just go, oi, his eyes are up.
it's not quite like there, it's like on the shoulder.
Like, neck level, it's just like, you have to look tight.
Just staring at Nine's chest. And
Maybe he'd be looking up anyway, so.
He'd be like,
like, told me, 9. He's a little short
mean-
for her.
He'll look at you and say, "Are you really from the order?"
What's the word? I'm an initiate? Initiate? Part trainee!
You're initiate.
Initiate, yeah.
Initiate, yeah.
It's like, well, that's more help than we thought we'd get. Let's go. So this little dude will lead you out of this building. And as you're kind of walking, he'll be saying, yeah, about 2 weeks ago we got attacked. Don't know what happened. It came out of almost nowhere. And then, the day after we closed all the gates, people went missing. But then there was, in the middle of the night, massive explosion we heard, and then everyone started being killed. These massive snake creatures
The snakes we have experienced.
started killing pretty much indiscriminately, and half the town died in the first night.
Was that the very first attack?
Yeah, very first attack.
We have
We had one attack before that, kind of small. It was in the middle of the night. We didn't know what was happening, but then the big one, half the town was. It's why everywhere's completely deserted. We've barricaded ourselves up in the northwest area, and then, me and just me now. The others died, but a couple of us are sent out during the day, and we try and find any valuables, anything that would be useful. We're kind of running out of food and weaponry, so I'm sent out to.
What? Sorry. What is your name?
My name's Filbert.
Filbert.
Filbert Burrows. Lovely to meet you. How rude of me. What are your names?
My name's 9.
Interesting name.
that's
Quite
a
a
number.
Gumpert.
But Filbert.
That's it, yeah, follow me.
Follow me. Lovely to meet you.
My
Wait.
name is Ibothane No Name.
Ibethane, no name.
Does
Dragonborn do have weird names.
Has your mayor survived?
And the black
Miller,
guy.
yeah, he's holed up in the town.
Has
We'd very much
Eldris.
meant to leave.
He's
Oh.
Eldras. He's kind of leading us now. He's alive. I'll take you. That'll be who I'm taking you to.
Throw away the shield.
It's like, rub some mud on the front. It's totally not his.
Let's wear it back to front. So you
Turn
can
the E
see.
into like an F. What a B.
This is totally a 9.
You actually.
That
No, you couldn't.
No, you
No,
couldn't.
it'd be backwards. You could
Yeah.
do like
Just
a
put
6.
N-I-N before it.
You can make it a
You
6.
can make it a 6.
And then just flip it over.
You can make it a 5.
Wait, is it an E as in a capital E?
Capital,
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was a small E.
Just make it into a B and say your name.
No, it's still what? You can still make it into a 6.
Yeah, you could.
Add 1 line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so very much like to meet. We've been said to talk to your elders.
Alright, well, follow me. And he continues to kind of take you down the road you're going on towards the plaza square area. And when you're in it, you step out into it, and it's quite wide, but at this point it's completely deserted. And there are actually large blood splatters of a sort of dark, very, very dark reddish blood. Still very dark red, so you can tell it's not that old because blood goes brown as it ages. And then on sort of one edge of the square, sort of towards the north area of the town, you notice that there's essentially a very large barricade set up, and it looks kind of just like they've grabbed whatever they can, and over time added to it and improved. So there are like just table legs sticking out of this at some point, but then that table leg that's sticking out has now been sharpened into a stake, so if anyone runs into it, and there are blocks of stone, and there are little arrow slits made just by the way they placed it, or maybe cut out of it. And it goes right up to the top of these buildings, all the way up.
Can I ask Philbert, what happened to the gate?
That we're not sure. Some sort of fireball. A lot of people died. We had guards stationed there. Me and a couple of the others, we cleared out the bodies and buried them up just outside of town. It's strange. There were about 20 guardsmen there, but when we went to collect the bodies, there were only 8 left, so we don't know what happened to the other 12, but it's kind of something that's happening a lot. We're not finding as many bodies as we think people have been killed. And
so people are going missing.
People are going missing. We noticed that for a while before.
Do you think they've been turned into snake people?
That's what I was thinking.
We noticed it for a while before the actual attacks happened. People started disappearing. People that lived outside of the city. We used to have farming. The area around us used to be farming land, but about a year ago, the crops were awful, so we had to import lots of food, and the farmers moved away. But the people that lived just outside of the town all started going missing, and then about a week later, the first attack happened.
What did apart from taking the people, did the snake people seem interested in anything else? What did you think their purpose of coming into the town? What were they looking for?
I myself haven't really seen them. You have to ask the guard. I'm going to go Australian again. You'd have to ask the guard.
Guide.
You'd have to ask the guards. Fuck.
Just get past that word.
You'd have to ask the guards about that. But I haven't seen the actual attacks. Haven't seen a snake person yet.
Okay. I just want to say that I and Ibathane can't remember the moment that we agreed to sort of go on this adventure. We sort of just fallen into it. I don't remember the point where I was like, yeah, we have to fight the snake people. I just sort of remember kind of fighting them and then being like, now it's my job. Or something.
I mean, it was more 9 that got told to go and do it.
Just tagging along with all my bullshit.
Right, cool.
9 was basically
I had a great
told.
life just robbing people.
Yeah, so at this point,
love it, really.
At this point, you've kind of reached the barricade, and a voice will a head will pop up across the top and shout down basically shout down "Hi, Philbert, what have you been up to? Who are these people?" And he'll say they're here to see.
What have we agreed to? You come over, head pops because, "Hey, Philbert, how you doing? How's it going, pal? You had a good day?"
How's the wax?
Just having a conversation about their lives.
Yeah, but he'll be after a short exchange, Philbert tells them that, you're here to see Eldrass and the mayor, and they'll let you in. It's actually very well concealed, but they essentially pull back a table, and it turns into a doorway that you can enter in through. Cool. You go in and looking behind you will notice they put that back, and then they put this big metal bar across it and secure it back down. So from the outside you can't tell that that's the entryway, but it is. Yep. And then you're walking through this area of town, and it's very different. Nowhere near as clean. There's kind of waste not waste, but like there's
Shit.
No, because they're not just shitting on the streets.
Sewage.
No.
Just
It's
like
like
litter?
it's yeah, there's like
Random
litter,
shit
and you can
everywhere?
tell.
Crisp
It's like
packets.
imagine if like
So imagine a clean Glasgow street.
Yeah.
What they call clean.
yeah,
Sucky
pretty
Hot,
much.
Bins
Sucky
that
Hot
haven't
Street
been
at the after
It's
night
gonna
out.
be incredible for the international audience.
Like it looks more like a lived-in city street essentially, but it looks particularly lived in. And as you're going along, you'll see like people bandaging wounds, and it kind of seems like most of the people here there's a lot of men, and there's a lot of children. There's not very many women, and kind of everyone you see, even the children, are kitted up to fight and protect themselves.
Yes, I like this time.
Thong is just sort of like bloody hell.
And as you're walking through,
Sausage
people turn around and they'll notice that, hey, there's new people, and particularly you, Nine, they'll notice you, and they'll see the thing on your armour. And it's the first time this has happened, but a couple people appear to be making fist symbols, roughly where yours is emblazoned,
Cool.
on their chest and bowing their heads to you.
Do it back.
And
for me.
just
Yeah.
and they actually do see that the two of you are travelling with her, and they'll do the same to you. And kind of the normal people living around this town, quote unquote normal, but people that like standard citizens seem to be showing you quite a lot of respect.
Holy shit.
That's going to go away quite
minding
quickly.
out your way. And you kind of walk through this town for a bit, and you come to what is quite clearly going to be sort of a town hall type area. It's got big marbled columns. It's a very fancy building. You go in, two guards open the doors, let you in, and you kind of enter into essentially kind of a war room. There's a model of what clearly used to be like a reception / desk area has been replaced. The big table cleared off, and there's kind of a rough model of the town. And on it you can see red light, streets marked out, and where the barricades are all marked out by red lines. And there are a couple buildings marked out that are particularly useful. A lot of them are marked out like this, like coloured in. But the building you're in is this one, so it's
Right in
fairly
the
close,
centre.
right in the centre.
Cool.
Standing around this table with this and kind of deliberating are a couple different figures. There's one, a human man, probably about 5'10", so he's not particularly tall. He is wearing sort of plain clothes, but he's not wearing armour. He's wearing plain clothes, but they're fairly fancy. They're like he's well dressed and well kept, despite clearly looking rough.
Miller.
He's got like very messy black hair, and he's wearing a pair of eyeglasses on his table on his eyes as he like leans over the table, and he's pointing out something roughly in the area that you were just in here, around there. The person he's talking to is a much larger man wearing a half breastplate. I don't know if you ever watched the show Merlin.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know the armour that Arthur wore in that? So
Yeah.
it's kind
Yes.
of like full armour, but it covers his chest and one arm.
Yep.
He's wearing that. In the other, strapped to his waist is a longsword, and across his back is a shield, pretty much the same as yours.
Hey.
9. Once again, trying to do the naming people.
Yeah.
He stands over it, and he's completely shaven head, and he's listening to whatever the guy that you've identified as Miller is saying. And then there's a third person a bit further away, because those two are clearly doing something. You can instantly tell that he's a half-elf, which you don't see very often. None of you would have seen around the entire time you've been in this area. And he kind of stands there, and he's wearing pretty much a clergy uniform, non-armoured, but he is wearing imagine a priest, so he has like the full-on collar and everything like that. Maybe he has a holy book at his waist, and and he's got a big chain around his neck, the end of which goes into the folds of his robes. But you've met clerics before, you know they always carry some sort of holy symbol.
Right.
And it's probably that. And he kind of stands a bit further off, and he at this point is actually attending to someone's wounds, and he places his hand on this person's arm after he's bandaged it up, and you see a slight breath of light come out of his hand, and the person wanders off. And this is what you see as you enter this room. The two men standing at the table instantly look up, and the man that you've identified as Miller will look up and say, "Oh, Philbert, you're back early. Who are these people?"
You're looking at us. You're Filbert.
Oh shit! It's so difficult.
We just had this look of.
And I'm like,
Are we Filbert?
imagine we're just sitting looking at Philbert like, Philbert, speak.
Oh, Jesus
Why am I
Christ.
doing this to myself? I
We're Filbert
hate
now.
having NPC conversations.
You are both
Yes,
of
I
these
know.
people.
He'll look at Philbert and like, "Philbert, you're back. Who are these people?" And Philbert will essentially say, "Oh, I met them on the south side of town when I was exploring. I met them on the south side of town."
You're not flicking between these accents.
I am flicking between these accents a lot. It's because it's been a while since I've done it. I've been on the south side of town. As you told me to go, I collected a bit, but then I met these people. They were wandering around the old blacksmith, and he'll nod his head at the man in armour. I think they're here to help. And as he says that, the man in armour will look up and say, "There's only 3 of you. How are you going to help?"
May only be 3 of us, but we pack a good punch.
I bloody hope so. Come over here. You kind of stand in front of him, and he appraises you. He looks at the 2 of you first. He looks up at you because you're taller than him. He looks up at you, Ibathane. Nods his head, and he's doing kind of clearly a military type inspection of you.
Imagine you stand there. Can you jingle your head or something like that?
Oh, we did like a spindly, like dragonborn weedy.
He'll move on to you, Tholme, and he'll kind of look you up and down, give a nod again, and he finally gets on to you, Nine. He's just like, looks you up and down and just says, "I see you've got my shield there."
Huh?
"I see you've got one of my shields there.
She's resourceful.
Hope it serves you well."
Thank you.
Anyway, you 3, what can you tell us about these things that are attacking us?
They are snake people.
Well, we gathered that.
They can shapeshift
Aye.
sometimes,
Aye.
changing from having
yeah.
arms and legs to having fully snake bodies.
I have experienced this, and we have also fought some swarms of snakes, and
Right.
also a being which was human from the nipples down, but had a.
I regret saying
But
I can imagine you actually standing like this.
Like, right, then
Wait.
from here to the end of the conversation, you're just rubbing
Yeah.
your nipples.
it's just they are human from the nipples down, and they have a snake's
Please
head
stop doing that. That's
and
really
the
uncomfortable.
snakes for hands. But we have not investigated yet whether the nipples themselves are human or snake. Do snakes have nipples? I just turn to you guys. Do snakes have nipples?
Wait,
I'm still
did
rubbing
you-
my nipples.
Did you tell us that you have the sword?
You haven't yet.
You haven't. That's okay. I'll leave it.
Oh wait, no, yeah. I don't know that that's relevant, so
Yeah, you
I'm not
don't know
gonna.
it's relevant.
Everything's not gonna bring it up until someone tells them to.
No, but we can't because we don't know you have it.
They're just gonna...
He'll kind of
And
like,
also, I found this.
he'll be like, right, we've seen a couple like that look almost human until the last moment, turn into a snake and attack you. We've seen others. We haven't encountered any swarms of snakes. We've seen them use magic. I had hoped that the 3, if any help arrived, especially from, I'm assuming, River's Edge. I'm not going into a Russian accent now.
We're comrade.
We're comrade. Especially from River's Edge, would have some extra information. But any hand will do.